selling or making money off of it from buying, Vocaloid software in particular. So, starting from 3, a couple companies made Vocaloid ones. So, for example, Leon, Lola, Miriam, were English-speaking ones. And then Meiko Kaito were the first Japanese-speaking ones. And then later on, we have Vocaloid 2s, which there are a whole bunch of them. And this 1 hour is really too short, so I'm just going to leave it as saying that there's a ton of them out there. And you should go check them out if you have time. But there's just so many out there that I don't have time to talk about all of them in this hour. And then just last year, the 3rd and newest version of the software was released. And so there's a couple of them out already, and then a bunch more released in the future. And so there's tons of vocal software out there, a lot of different voices. So you can always check out and find a lot of different voices for them now. However, I want to focus on Crypto Future Media because their Vocaloids, I feel like, were the ones that were best able to popularize the Vocaloid software. Because when Vocaloid 1 was first released, Meiko and Kaito, they were really not popular. They only sold probably like 100 copies, a couple hundred copies, and they did not really spark any interest or any buying, any purchasing amount from customers. They didn't really see what was the point of buying this Vocaloid software to make songs with. And one thing that they saw was that Kaito's sales, the male vocalist, was particularly bad. And people think that, or perhaps because of this, a lot of Vocaloids released since then have been all female voices. Because the male voices originally don't sell very well. And then, the most famous ones, Hatsune Miku, Kagame Inen, and Meguri Ruka, were released between 2007 and 2009. And they're all from Vocaloid 2, which is a new version of software, and so it sounds better than the previous ones, and lots of cool things that happen with the upgrade. But it was these that was able to capture everyone's attention. Like, whoa, Vocaloids are pretty cool, and you see Miku everywhere, and you see art of her everywhere, and so it's a little bit like how she became so popular. And one example of the popularity is that there are also pen versions out. So for people who want to create music, then you can buy these like add-on packs, and you can get different voices with them. So there's like sweet, soft, vivid, dark, light, solid. So like some different varieties in the music that you can create with the Vocaloid software. And so how does Vocaloid work? Like, what do people do once they buy the software? And so there's this whole ecosystem, so to speak, where the Vocaloid is just one part of the puzzle. And in fact, it's just a really small part that has become to grow to a huge number of people. And I'll go through the process right now. So first, you have a composer who bought the Vocaloid software and used it to create a song. That's pretty simple. And then you have an artist who will also lend their talents to create character art to help advertise a song. So for example, this is the art that Red Juice created to advertise for World Is Mine, which is a song by Supercell. And then the artists and the composers work together, and maybe along with a video editor, to make videos to showcase their song. And the most popular place, one of the most popular places, is Nika Nika Doga, which is a Japanese video sharing site. And here you can see the video, a screenshot from the video of Love Is War, which is another song by Supercell. And so these things that you see online are not just Vocaloid, but there's also Vocaloid along with artists and video editors and lyric writers and stuff. So it's a multi-man project. Many of these things, some of them are just one person doing everything, but many Vocaloid songs you see out there are actually a combination of many different people. For example, the group Supercell, like I mentioned earlier, for this song, only has one person who does music, Ryo, and everyone else is just artists. So Vocaloid is really not just music, but also art as well. And then all the really popular songs get put onto the weekly Vocaloid ranking, which just goes through Nika Nika Doga and sees like, oh, this is the 7th popular song, you got this many views, and here's a little snippet of it. And so these are being made even to this day. So if you go online right now, you can see the most popular songs from the past week on Nika Nika Doga. So it's a really cool way to find out, what's cool and what's hot right now. And then what made Hatsune Miku special? Anybody can create videos, anybody can use Nika Nika Doga. But what made Miku special, I think, was a bit of luck, but also the Doujin culture of Japan. So one of the first songs that was made with Hatsune Miku was Lemon Polka. How many people do not know what leaf spin is? Leaf spin? Okay, so leaf spin, you can see Miku here holding a leek. And so leaf spin was a song, it was being really popular, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, a long time ago, where you had Morihime Inoue from Bleach, and she would spin a leek, and the song playing was called Lemon Polka. And this became really, really popular, and it spread crazy amounts on YouTube and all over online. And then somebody, Otomania specifically, took that song and made Hatsune Miku sing it. And so he was able to leverage this meme and popularize Vocaloid. So I thought it was really cool how he was able to use this meme to help popularize Vocaloid. And quick in future media, this opportunity to advertise Vocaloid saying that, hey, this is an example of what our software can do. It can create cool songs like Lemon Polka. So I'll play a short example of it. And many of you will probably recognize this song. The popularity of this song helped catapult two things. One is Miku holding a leek. So this is why you see Miku holding leeks everywhere. And the other one is the popularity of this chibi version of Miku called Hatsune Miku. And so because of the song was so popular, a lot of people have drawn fan art of this character. And so it became really popular online. It's a pretty long song, so I won't play too much. Miku Miku Shitageru. This is one of the most popular songs on Miku no Doga. I think it's in the top 3 or 5. And it's another song that was, I think, able to capture the attention of many people. Because it was released also pretty early, September 2007. And people heard this song, I mean, people wonder like, oh, what is this Hatsune Miku thing? It sounds pretty catchy. And maybe, I want to go buy the software and make a song with it too. And it became such a popular song that very often, whenever a new Vocaloid comes out, they will make a version of this song using the other new Vocaloid singing the song. So there's like a reading version singing of it, a Ruka version singing the song. So this song is sort of like the anthem song for like new Vocaloids. finally, Supercell, I keep mentioning him, but I feel like he was one of the very first big and huge popular composers who was able to really capture not only attention of people online making doga, but also capture attention of big companies and music licensors. His first song, Melt, was released in December 2007, about 3 or so months after Miku first came out. And it was a huge hit, and it is one of the by far the most popular Vocaloid songs to this day. And I'll play a little short clip of it right now. So some of you might have heard this before if you've seen a Kumikyoko or something before. It was a huge hit. It became really popular right after it came out, and it sometimes still ranks in Nikkei Doga weekly rankings. And so I feel like it's sort of a coincidence or happenstance that once Miku came out, like these really talented composers just found the software and just thought, why don't I create a song with this piece of software? Melt and Miku Shigeru. And so I feel like, in some ways Miku is just lucky that she was able to catch the attention of these composers. And Supercell went on to compose other songs like Love is War, Black Rock Shooter, and Bold is Mine. And he is now, kind of left Vocaloid, which is kind of sad. But now he's done a lot of other commercial stuff. So it's pretty cool how these talented composers are able to find their talent through Vocaloid. And then finally, the Dojin aspect. So, how many people know what Dojin is? Oh, cool, wow, okay. So, Vocaloid, in essence, is Dojin. Vocaloid, most people who make Vocaloid are not commercial musicians. They're not, or they might be musicians as their job, but they don't produce Vocaloid as part of their job. Most Vocaloid songs are made for fun. People just do it out of their own interest, out of their own, artistic creativity, and then they create music using those software for fun. And Comiket is an example of of where they can sell their Vocaloid goods. So in Japan, twice a year, you have huge events like Comiket, where thousands of people in Japan sell, art they made, games they produced, or music they've written. And so at Comiket, one of the things people sell is Vocaloid songs. And since this huge audience exists where people buy and sell things they create themselves, kind of like a super large version of the Artist Alley in the US, Vocaloid just kind of happened to fit into this system as a way to produce music to share with other people. And to kind of add on to that, in the ACG culture, which in Japan sort of encompasses anime, comics, and games, you have this common art style, right? You have the manga character, and Hatsune Miku is an example of this art style. But among, doujinshi or fan manga or, fan anime or fan games, you don't really have like a music, like a fan music type thing as strongly. And I feel like Vocaloid is able to allow composers to create their own music and to create new art by music alone. Not just, you don't need to write a manga to go along with Hatsune Miku. You can just, create a song with her instead. And this allows musicians to create doujin on par, and compete with all the other manga doujinshi and all the other artists at these doujin events. And Nikken Doga, as I mentioned before, the important date to notice is that Nikken Doga was founded in December 2006. So Nikken Doga was founded like a little over a year before, just over a year before Miku was released. So I think that because Miku was released after Nikken Doga, people found a really easy way to, share all the videos they made using Vocaloid. And so I think maybe if Kaito and Meiko were created after Nikken Doga was founded, maybe they were more popular from the beginning. I don't know. But Miku was definitely lucky that Nikken Doga existed before she came to be. And of course, the weekly Vocaloid ranking is on Nikken Doga. And another important thing is Utate Mita, which is to try to sing. And this is where a lot of people take Vocaloid songs and sing it themselves. And there's a huge audience for Utate Mita on Nikken Doga. And a couple people who become famous, who sing songs on Nikken Doga, they become commercial musicians and commercial artists. So Utate Mita is a pretty big audience in Nikken Doga, and it's a good way to try out, your voice and see how good you're at singing. And it's so popular in Nikken Doga, in fact, that on their webpage they have their own category for. It's kind of hard to see. Right here is Vocaloid. So it's their own category on Nikken Doga is for just Vocaloid songs and other Vocaloid related things. So it's pretty impressive that they've gotten such a huge audience for it on Nikken Doga. So after, as it becomes popular, all the fans start creating their own things related to Vocaloid. One example is Miku Miku Dance, where people, or one person made the software that allows people to create music videos using the vocal characters that he made. And this makes it really easy for people to create videos to go along with the music. Because sometimes people can make music, but they don't really want to use Maya or other 3D software to create videos to go along with it. And then Miku Miku Dance allows them to use already created models to make videos for their songs. And then there's people who make their own Vocaloids as well. For example, Haku Yowane, who's the girl in the gray hair, and Neru Akita, who's the girl in the yellow hair, who are kind of like mirror images, or like the dark shadow version of Miku. And Miku Hatsune, like I mentioned earlier, was inspired from Lemon Polka. And then one thing that you should probably pay attention to when you look at fan art, if you don't know that already, is for character items. Because many times whenever a Vocaloid is created, fans just seem to want to create a character item for the Vocaloid. So Miku has been associated with leek, because Lemon Polka. Meiko has sake, Kaito has ice cream, Rin has oranges, Ren has banana, and Luca has octopus, taco. So this is takuruka, which is a chibi version of Luca with octopus tentacles instead of hair. And alternatively, also tuna can be associated with Luca. So you will often find fan art or videos where the imagery of these foods are associated with the characters. And then after the fans start, producing all these Vocaloid products, then the commercial side starts looking at Vocaloid and seeing what they can do with it as well. Cryptic Future Media especially, I feel like, has really embraced the fan spirit. They created the voice called Pia Pro. And the important thing about Pia Pro is that if you create artwork on Pia Pro or you put music on Pia Pro, then Cryptic Future Media allows you to sell it. Is there a question? And so, if you put art on Pia Pro or put music there, then you can take that art and music and then go and try to make money off of it. If you were to do this with something else, like say Mickey Mouse from Disney, then Disney would sue your ass. Like, they would totally hate it if you took their images and their characters and try to sell it. But Cryptic Future Media, they're okay with it. They like it when people create music with their Vocaloids and create art with the Vocaloids and then try to sell that. Like, they're totally fine with it. So this is one significant difference in attitude between Crypto Future Media and their Vocaloids versus big other copyright holders like Disney. And guarantee is a way for a music artist to sell their work. So Crypto Future Media allows people to go on guarantee, you put the music on it, and then you can buy it from anywhere in the world. So you can go on Crypto Guarantee right now and go buy Japanese music from the US using the website. So it's a really good way for people who who are just really small artists. They don't really do this as a living to sell their music. And then of course, some artists are talented enough to get the attention of big companies like Sony. So for example, Supercell has been selling all of his music through Sony now. And then a lot of other artists have captured the attention of Avex and Atlantis and these other big Japanese music companies as well. So for some people, they can also go through the commercial route. And then there's also other companies such as Exit Tunes who create albums with the current top songs, and then they will release the albums into the commercial market in Japan. And some of these albums are quite popular enough to rank '1 in all music sales in Japan for that week. So it's pretty impressive how far Vocaloid has come from just small YouTube videos to big commercial album CDs. And then the games. Many people have probably seen the PSP games or the arcade games that were made with the Crypto Future Media Vocaloid avatars. And these started in 2009, and it's been so popular that they've had edition after edition versions of it. So there's the arcade version, there's Project Diva 2nd, and then now there's Project Diva Extend. So now there's 3 versions of the game. And there's also a way to play the game on your PS3. So if you think the PSP is like the screen's too small, well then you can also play on PS3 and put on any size TV you want. So it's another way to enjoy Vocaloid. And then one thing that always has to be mentioned when you talk about Miku is Block Rock Shooter, because even though Block Rock Shooter is a Miku song, it's actually not the character. It's not the same character. It's actually an independent character created by Huke. And then Ryo, who was part of Supercell, saw the character, and then afterwards created the song. So it's not Miku and then Block Rock Shooter, but Block Rock Shooter and then the song. And this song was pretty catchy, and a lot of people liked it. So there was an anime made of it. And then, in fact, this coming winter, in like a few weeks, Noi Tamina will be showing Block Rock Shooter as an anime. So I hope it'll be really awesome, but it hasn't come out yet, so fingers crossed. I hope it'll be really good. And then probably the most news headline, virtual concerts and ABBA 3D holograms giving concerts are these Miku Live concerts that have happened all over the world in recent years. And this is what they do for these concerts is they have a screen, and then they play the dancing footage with the 3D avatars from the video games, and then they have a live band to support it. So these started first happening in 2009, and then there was a special one on March 9th in 2010. And so the significance of March 9th is in Japanese, 3-9 can be said as Miku, which is Miku's name. But also 3-9 can be said as Sankyu. And so the title of this concert was Miku's Giving Day. So this is giving thanks to all the support that all the fans have given her, and all the other vocals as well. So this is a concert that started 2009, March 9, 2009, and has happened every year since. So there was one in 2011, Miku Pa, and the concert producers, knowing that it's going to be popular, they actually also streamed it online. And nowadays, all these big concerts, even if you can't make it to the concert, you can also watch it online. So it's another way to experience Vocaloid, even if you're like halfway across the globe. Speaking of halfway across the globe, I mentioned the guarantee earlier. You can buy the CDs all overseas. So in 2010, they noticed that there's a lot of sales in Japan. That's this dotted line, But then the dark line underneath it, that's the US sales. You know, it seems interesting how this Vocaloid phenomenon, which they thought was only in Japan, the Crypto Future Media, but like half their sales are coming from the US. So they came to the US and they aired a virtual concert, a first US screen debut in September 2010. And all they did was they took the Blu-ray for the concert from March 2010 and then they showed it in the theater. But it still sold out, full ticket, full screen was full, or full theater was full, and it was pretty popular. They were selling the DVDs to the concert, and they got a pretty good feedback from the audience that Miku is pretty popular in the U.S. So they thought about it a bit more. And then they told us like, hey, if everyone friends Miku on Facebook, then maybe there might be an English version of Miku. So on November 2010, they were able to get 39,390 fans of Miku on Facebook. And then they said, oh, cool things are coming up, just wait and see. Unfortunately, the spoiler here is English Miku has not come out yet. So that's kind of sad. But they released like trailers of it, so fingers crossed, 70% of it's done, they said, maybe. So it's in the works, they say. And then they give us this thing. I was kind of shocked at that. I don't know. It was kind of uneasy for me to see this. They did eventually end up changing the art on this webpage, so you can't see this art anymore, unfortunately. Or fortunately, maybe. And so there was this cross-ad campaign between Toyota and Hatsune Miku. And this is the very first time that a commercial entity in the US has officially used Hatsune Miku in like some sort of like game or like commercial or TV. So you can like see Hatsune Miku on TV in the US because of these ads. But the real reason, unfortunately, was because of this thing, the Anime Expo Miku Live, or Mikunopolis, which happened last year, and it was pretty awesome. It was a joint project between Anime Expo, Crypto Future Media, Sega, and of course Toyota. So Toyota had to help them pay for the band or something. And what was pretty impressive about this is that the tickets sold out only 2 weeks after they announced it, which shows them that Miku is pretty popular here. So they should bring more of these concerts out. I hope. And again, they had web screening for this on Nikinu Doga at the same time. So the impact of Vocaloid, it's made concerts, it's made games. What else has it done? Well, it's also made people really rich, actually. Many of these Vocaloid producers have, first started off making Vocaloid songs. For example, KZ, he composed Last Night Good Night, Strobo Lights, Packaged. He is the composer for Irony, which is a song sung by Claris, the opening for Ore no Motoka wa Konani Kawaii wa Kanonai. Oh, I wrote this wrong. Okay, the title there is wrong. But KZ, who was originally a Vocaloid producer, he went on to compose songs for this anime opening. And Supercell, keep mentioning him, but he really just does everything, real. And Supercell as a group, they've done Kimi no Shinai Monogatari, which is the ending for Bakemonogatari. They've done Love and Roll from Second Roll. They're the main music behind Guilty Crown. He composed Light by Fire, which is the opening for Shana 3, sung by Kotoko. And this coming season, he's composed the ED for Nissan Monogatari, which is sung by Claris. And so it shows that if you're really talented and you create vocal songs, then you can get picked up by all these commercial companies. So if you think that you can compose music, try making a vocal song first. Toguki, who composed Aria and Speak Up, he went on to compose Ode Sign, which is sung by Lisa for the opening for Fate Zero. And Wawaka, who is famous for Rolling Girl, Golden Dance Hall, and Uramote Lovers, or Two-Face Lovers, the English name. He went on to compose I Am Home, and I'm Home, which is Sayaka and Kyoko's character song for Monica. It is the ending I've told from the Blu-ray version of the show. So these people who started off as humble, Vocaloid producers, they went on to become big name commercial composers as well. So it's one of these paths that you can take if you start off as a Vocaloid artist. And P is for producer. Well, in case you've been wondering, if you look at the credits for many of these Vocaloid songs, many of them have the word P, have the letter P after them. For example, I mentioned Toku P, or for example, Cosmo P. And the reason for that is that P stands for producer. And generally, it is a sign of respect that the fans give to the producers, saying like, after he's created a few songs that becomes really popular, people think like, oh, this is a really cool person, we should call him P as a sign of respect. And so whenever you have a person, whenever you have an artist that's Cosmo P or something, that means that the fans really respect his music and they give him the title P. But there's these games and there's these concerts. And there's also this issue that there might be maybe too much commercialization. Maybe there's too much money huddling this piece of art. And this was raised by Xanids. So Xanids came to the J-Pop Summit in San Francisco last year, in August 2011. And they gave a panel there where they talked a bit about what it's like to be a producer, what songs they've made. And one thing they mentioned that I thought was really significant is that in the beginning of Vocaloid, you had, Mel and, Miku, Shitagaru, you had these people who picked up the software and thought, what sort of art can I create with this? What sort of music can I create with this piece of software? And, people started creating really cool, really awesome music with it. But then, these companies say, hey, these music are getting, millions of hits on YouTube. Maybe we should try to make some money off of it. And then so these games get made, these concerts get made, and Xanids themselves were offered, why don't you put one of your songs in Punja Diva, the video game? But they declined it. And they said that among, other producers they've known, there's actually a sort of voice of discontent saying that there's kind of like too much company interference with this, and they don't want their songs, the piece of art, to be associated with just devices for making money. And so there's a little bit of pushback from some composers and some producers saying that, there might be a bit too much commercialization going on. And so this is another issue that's Vocaloid, producers deal with, is that do I make money for art? Do I make music for art, or do I make music for money? And I think one of the things that Vocaloid is good at is that it's able to capture people who want to make music for just music, and they don't want to make music for art, or make music for money. So I think that's one of the more admirable goals of a Vocaloid producer. So what's in the future? Well, Vocaloid 3, like I mentioned, a couple of new things that happened for Vocaloid 3 are that there's going to be more languages available. There's now a Chinese version, a Spanish version, and a Korean version. So if you don't speak English or Japanese very well, maybe you want to create a song in Korean or maybe create a song in Chinese. And they first started being released a couple months ago in August, the editor was released in August, and then the voice banks are now gradually being released. A couple famous ones, or a couple significant ones, I feel like, because the voice actor is pretty famous, is Cool is being voiced by Kitabuena Eri, who's done lots of voice acting roles as a seiyuu, and Ia, which is voiced by Leah. Leah is famous for Tona Uta, My Soul Your Beats, and a couple of other pretty cool songs. And then there's even more upcoming projects. There's more games being made, Project Mirai for 3DS. And this is significant because it is the first time that a production of one of these games, which has usually been only Kunta feature media, it'll be the first time that Gumi is included in one of these productions. So I think it's pretty special. Like all the Gumi fans, they feel kind of left out because they only see like Miku and Rin and Ren and stuff. But now Gumi is also going to be included in this project. So I think it's pretty cool how some other Vocaloids are being included into these games. And then again in March, there's going to be another concert. And what's interesting this time is going to be 2 days. It's not just March 9th, but it's going to be March 8th and 9th. So I guess Vocaloid is so popular that they can't have a concert last 1 day, but a concert lasts 2 days. And then, if you want to learn more about Vocaloid, there's a couple of websites that I really recommend. Moatron is sometimes posts about some news articles about new Vocaloids coming up. Vocaloidism, they call themselves the center of the English-speaking Vocaloid community. Anyway, And I really like the news covers they put up there. The Hatsune Home Carry, they're pretty up to date on all the new events and stuff. So if you want to learn more about Vocaloids, then definitely go check them out. And also, they usually have translations of the English version of the Vocaloid ranking. So if you can't read the Japanese version, then you can go there and check out the translated version. And ANN, or MA's Network, has been doing a pretty good job also of keeping up with news about Vocaloid. Okay. And in the spirit of Web 2.0, there's also a bunch of wikis available, such as vocaloid.wiki.com, which is pretty up to date, and vocaloidwiki.com. A couple of images I've had in the presentation were taken from vocaloid.wiki.com. And of course, the wiki ranking for people who want to find new songs that are cool and popular. So, lastly, are there any questions in the last 10 minutes I have? And again, if you want to contact me, Math for Origami is my screen name. Yes? Music? Well, many songs are, released on New Logo or YouTube, so you can usually search for it on, on websites, such as those. But for downloading, there's iTunes. Actually, I mentioned a screenshot of it, but you can now find any Vocaloid songs on iTunes, so you can try searching that. Or you can try going Guarantee. Guarantee does do international sales, and otherwise, it's really, to be honest, it's really hard to buy actual albums in the U.S. like from Japanese producers. But I would maybe try iTunes or Guarantee. Those are like best sources for like official music.
Amazon too.
Amazon, yeah. Amazon also has some music as well. I mean, you can always download things. Don't quote me on it, but yes, you can always use point and stuff. But the thing is like a lot of this is Dojin, and in the spirit of Dojin, I feel like many people would like it for people to hear the music. It doesn't matter how they acquired it. So, it's for some people. Especially, I know if I was like a tiny Vocaloid artist who maybe had like 10 hits on my song, I wouldn't care if someone downloaded my song, on BitTorrent. Like, I would like it if more people heard my song. And I feel like for many people who don't like the commercialization, like the whole buying of like stuff, then the spirit of Vocaloid is just to give and share. You create music to share with people for free. You don't create music to sell to people to make money. And so, if you use that logic, you can say that, oh, I'm downloading it to, help spread Vocaloid around. But, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah, All-Star Project, actually, they actually came onto the Vocaloid Live. The Miku Giving Day, he was actually the pianist who was playing at the concert. So he's still part of the vocal community. He's still creating new songs. In fact, I think one of his new songs is going to be in an upcoming game. So he's still creating lots of new songs, and you will find them like games and the concerts as well. Yeah, he's just one person composing songs. He might get help when he makes the videos, but he mainly does the music. Yeah.
Project is female. She played the piano only for her own song.
Oh, okay. I see. Thank you for the clarification. Yes? It's decently expensive. It's when they first came out, they're usually about 17,000 yen approximately. Which, if you use the 100-to-1 ratio, is about $170. But the price varies depending on what company you buy from and what the exchange rate is, because most of the Japanese Vocaloids are being sold by Japanese companies, so therefore it's in yen. And so nowadays it's probably over $20 if you use the exchange rate. Is there an official way to get it right now? Japanese Vocaloids?
They have an English version of VocaloidStore.com.
Oh, okay.
en.vocaloidstore.com. They have an English version.
Okay, so yeah, there's now an official way to get the Japanese
And it's a bit
Vocaloid
cheaper
in
because it's not the physical product like those were.
Oh,
It's
it's
download
just
only,
download.
so it's a lot easier to get.
So you don't get the disc for it. So you can buy the Japanese Vocaloids online, but you don't get like the box and the disc with it, unfortunately.
But it ends up being a bit cheaper too.
Okay. What's the website?
en.vocaloidstore.com.
Yeah, this is pretty new. This was not available like a year ago. You could not get them before, but now you can buy them, from the U.S. Officially and legally. Yep.
So I'll see this. Do you know if the one you download comes with an English interface?
Yeah, they actually have an English version of the Vocaloid 3 software, which will work with all the Vocaloid 2 banks for about $125. And you'll upgrade your V2s to V3s, and it'll work with all the upcoming ones too. They have the light editor. They have the V2 editor. Will also come with any V2 you buy. And it's very easy to patch it into English. Just delete the Japanese language file. Yeah, it's actually patched into Japanese. So delete the Japanese patch, and it'll default into English.
Thank you. Okay, maybe one or two more questions. Yes?
What about Utah?
Yeah, so Utao is another piece of software that it does the same thing as Vocaloid. You create songs with it that are based on voices that you've sampled, but it's a free version. It's open source. So the idea is that people who don't make it for money, they just write code in their own free time, and then they work on the project and submit to it, and then you can download Utao with any voice you want. So it's not being sold by a company. It's just being freely available. It's an online project, and there's lots of different Utaos out there. And it's got its own separate weekly ranking as well. So if you want to check out Utao songs, then there's also Utao weekly ranking.
Where would you find those?
I'm not quite completely sure.
Google is your friend.
Go to utaforum.com. Yeah, seriously.
Utao Forum?
Utaforum, yeah.
Oh, Utao Forum. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of community out there for Utaos as well, because it's free. Anyone can use it. Yeah.
Do you feel like listing Vocaloid.otaku.net on the list of English Vocaloid communities?
Okay. Yes. I'll look into it.
Significantly bigger than some of the ones that list.
Okay.
You don't pimp our site?
I'll look into it. Yes. You have a question?
Also, I think there's going to be a Vocaloid concert tomorrow, isn't there? Yeah. Of like a Vocaloid Visions featuring Coda P. But it's like a Vocaloid concert.
Okay.
Might, if you're interested, at 11:30 tomorrow?
11:30 a.m. in Mass 3. One of the main stages, number 3, 11:30 a.m. Please come.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our own Vocaloid producers here in LA as well, so make sure to check them out.
Yeah. Ingloids.info. I'm going to pimp my site. Because I do English Vocaloid stuff.
I'm almost out of time. Any last question? Yeah, in the back. The Dean. So for Vocaloid 2 and before, you buy like Miku or you buy Dean, and then you can use it just by itself. You can edit the song and you can do everything with it. But with Vocaloid 3 and onwards, they have the editor, which is separate, and then you buy voice banks to attach to the editor.
They come with a tiny editor.
Yeah, so the voice banks, when you buy them, you can maybe compose a song with 2 octaves of music, and that's it, and have very little capabilities. And then you have to buy a separate editor to use it, to use the complete capabilities of the voice bank.
That's only the Vocaloid 3s, though. The Vocaloid 2s will come in a full version. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why the editor is separate in for version 3 and onward. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right. Cool.